Have you ever found yourself constantly feeling weak, experiencing uncharacteristic falls, or struggling with everyday tasks, despite maintaining what you believed was a healthy diet, incorporating supplements, and engaging in regular exercise? This persistent feeling of decline, even when you are trying to do everything right, might be a silent indication of sarcopenia, a condition that becomes increasingly prevalent in adults over the age of 60. Sarcopenia is not merely an unavoidable consequence of getting older. It represents a significant physiological shift where your body begins to lose muscle mass at a rate that outpaces its ability to regenerate and rebuild that tissue. Envision your muscles slowly diminishing, an erosion happening beneath the surface that may not be immediately visible, but manifests in tangible difficulties with daily living, such as the simple act of rising from a seated position, the strain of carrying a bag of groceries, or the unsettling sensation of losing your footing while walking. Disturbingly, contemporary scientific investigations suggest that older adults can potentially lose as much as 40% of their total muscle mass over the span of a single year if proactive measures are not implemented. This alarming statistic underscores the urgency. Nearly half of one's inherent muscular strength could dissipate within just 12 months without targeted intervention. Recognizing this critical juncture, this discussion is dedicated to illuminating 5 specific food items that you can and indeed should integrate into your breakfast routine starting tomorrow and continuing each subsequent morning if halting this unwelcome muscle depletion is your objective. Furthermore, the 5th recommendation shared is so highly regarded for its muscle-supporting properties that practitioners of traditional Chinese medicine routinely prescribe it to their aging patient populations. I extend a firm commitment to you. By the conclusion of this detailed exploration, you will possess a precise, actionable roadmap to not only halt muscle loss, but to actively work towards regaining the vigor and physical capability you might associate with being 40 years of age again. This promise is grounded in my extensive professional experience as a physician who has dedicated significant time to treating countless elderly individuals grappling with the debilitating effects of sarcopenia and age-related muscle decline. Through meticulous observation of their lifestyle patterns and careful tracking of their dietary intake, I have witnessed firsthand the profound impact of targeted nutritional adjustments. Over 85% of the patients who diligently incorporated the 5 specific foods we are about to detail into their mornings reported significant, measurable improvements in their strength, mobility, and overall sense of well-being. Before we delve into the restorative power of these beneficial additions, I invite you to engage with our community. Please share in the comments section where in the world you are tuning in from, what your current age is, and specifically what muscle loss challenges are most impacting your daily life right now. I personally commit to reading and responding to every single comment you leave. My name is Dr. Hillman, and you are warmly welcome to the Senior Food Blog, a resource dedicated to empowering your health journey through informed nutrition. Let us commence this vital conversation. Have you ever paused to consider the intricate biological processes occurring within your muscle tissues while you sleep? It is far from a passive state. Rather, it is a dynamic, 2-stage cycle fundamentally centered on the breakdown of old muscle material and the subsequent rebuilding of stronger, more resilient fibers. The initial phase occurs during the waking hours leading up to sleep. Your muscles are utilized, subjected to the stresses of daily activity, which results in the creation of microscopic, almost imperceptible tears within the muscle fiber structure. While the word tear might sound alarming, this microdamage is in fact the essential biological signal, the critical trigger that ignites the entire cascade of muscle adaptation and growth. Following this preparatory breakdown, your body enters a highly attentive repair mode. It mobilizes specialized healing cells and initiates comprehensive restorative processes, deploying these resources to mend the damaged areas, effectively patching those tiny tears and reconstructing the fibers in a manner that makes them thicker and more robust than they were previously. This adaptive response is the very secret to muscle maintenance and growth. The body proactively fortifies itself in anticipation of future demands. However, a crucial element of this cycle is often overlooked by many, particularly as we age. This vital repair and rebuilding process cannot proceed effectively without the correct nutritional substrate being readily available in the morning. You require specific raw materials, the actual molecular building blocks necessary for constructing new muscle proteins, and the majority of this intensive rebuilding phase is critically dependent on what you consume immediately following your overnight fast, which is your breakfast. Consequently, if your morning meal fails to supply the appropriate nutritional components, you are inadvertently depriving your muscles of the necessary resources for recovery and gain. Unfortunately, a common pitfall among seniors is the habit of fueling their bodies upon waking with foods that actively undermine muscle health. Therefore, before we unveil the 5 highly effective foods you should actively seek out for your morning meal, it is imperative that we first identify 5 common breakfast items you should strictly avoid, as they are actively contributing to your muscle loss. These are the 5 specific foods you must never combine with your morning meal if you are serious about halting the progression of sarcopenia. The first item on the list of dietary antagonists to muscle health is white bread. Consider the immediate physiological response when you consume white bread as part of your morning routine. The moment this refined product enters your digestive tract, it undergoes extremely rapid breakdown, essentially transforming into pure glucose that floods your circulatory system, leading to a sharp and immediate spike in your blood sugar levels. In response to this sudden glycemic surge, your body panics and triggers the release of substantial quantities of insulin, the primary hormone tasked with managing this excess sugar. Herein lies the significant, yet often misunderstood, problem. Elevated levels of insulin actively antagonize and actually block the ability of your muscle cells to absorb and utilize circulating amino acids, the very protein building blocks, for essential repair work. It is akin to placing a heavy, impenetrable lock directly onto the door of your muscle building factory precisely at the moment it needs to be operating at peak efficiency. But the detrimental effects extend beyond merely inhibiting growth. Here is the startling reality that escapes the awareness of most seniors. White bread consumption in the morning actively accelerates the catabolic or breakdown process within your muscles. Once the initial sugar spike inevitably crashes, leading to a subsequent drop in blood sugar, your body perceives this as an energy deficit and initiates a survival mechanism by beginning to break down your own existing muscle tissue, converting that stored protein into usable glucose for immediate energy needs. In essence, every slice of white toast or bread you consume for breakfast is literally contributing to the consumption of your own muscles. A recent long-term study meticulously tracked the dietary habits and muscle mass changes in a cohort of 2,000 seniors over a continuous 3-year period, specifically focusing on those who consumed white bread daily for breakfast. The resultant data was unequivocally alarming. This group exhibited a 23% greater rate of muscle mass loss when contrasted with their counterparts who consciously excluded white bread from their morning meals. This pattern of self-sabotage is repeated daily in countless households. Allow me to illustrate this with the case of Margaret, a 62-year-old former administrative assistant who first sought my consultation approximately 2 years ago, presenting with classic unmistakable symptoms of advanced sarcopenia. She reported an inability to rise from a standard dining chair without needing to actively push with her arms for leverage. She struggled significantly when tasked with transporting her weekly grocery load, and she experienced considerable instability and breathlessness when ascending even a short flight of stairs, all while feeling perpetually drained of energy despite reporting adequate hours of sleep. Her family had become increasingly concerned following 2 separate instances of falls within the preceding 6 months. Upon conducting a thorough review of Margaret's reported dietary history, a consistent and highly revealing pattern emerged. Every single morning, before leaving for her part-time work, she would prepare and consume 2 slices of white toast generously spread with butter. She perceived this as an expedient, convenient, and satisfying choice that sustained her until lunch. Unbeknownst to her, however, this seemingly harmless white bread was systematically dismantling her muscle fibers day after unforgiving day. Consequently, I developed a revised muscle-supportive dietary regimen for Margaret, which centrally featured the 5 muscle-regenerating foods we will soon discuss. Within a mere 2 weeks of implementing this change, she began reporting substantial improvements. Her documented muscle mass started to increase, her systemic energy levels surged dramatically, and she was soon navigating staircases without needing to clutch the railing for support. Most significantly, she reported a profound reclamation of confidence and physical strength. Margaret herself commented that she felt as though she had miraculously regained the physical vitality of her 40-year-old self, a transformation catalyzed simply by eliminating that ubiquitous morning white bread. The second detrimental breakfast habit to abandon is reaching for day coffee before consuming any solid food. Have you ever considered the precise sequence of events that unfolds in your body when you wake in the morning and immediately ingest caffeine on a completely empty stomach? The instant that dose of caffeine enters your system without any accompanying food buffer, it acts as a potent stimulus, triggering your adrenal glands to unleash a massive, acute surge of cortisol, which is medically known as the body's primary stress hormone. The critical issue here is that cortisol operates as the sworn adversary of muscle tissue. When cortisol levels dramatically elevate in the absence of any caloric intake, your entire physiological system interprets this state as an immediate survival crisis, compelling it to initiate the rapid breakdown of existing muscle protein, converting it into glucose to provide a source of emergency energy. But the truly devastating and often concealed fact for many seniors is this: that seemingly innocuous morning coffee ritual doesn't just initiate muscle breakdown, it can actively suppress your body's ability to synthesize new muscle proteins for a substantial period, potentially up to 6 hours following ingestion. This pronounced cortisol spike resulting from fasted caffeine consumption effectively blocks the action of a key anabolic hormone called insulin-like growth factor 1, IGF-1, which is fundamentally responsible for orchestrating muscle growth and repair processes. Even if you subsequently consume a perfectly balanced, protein-rich meal later in the day, your muscle-building machinery remains in an off state, paralyzed by the biochemical residue of that first morning coffee mistake. A recent longitudinal study observed 1,600 seniors over a 14-month period, tracking those who habitually drank coffee immediately upon waking without prior sustenance. The findings were shocking. This group experienced a 22% greater loss of lean muscle mass compared to seniors who either consumed food before their coffee or abstained from caffeine entirely in the early morning. Researchers identified a state they termed chronic muscle catabolism, where the body is locked in a continuous cycle of breaking down muscle tissue throughout the entire day, even during periods of complete rest. One of the most compelling yet tragic cases I encountered involved James, a diligent security guard who presented to the hospital at the age of 62. James was working an exceptionally demanding schedule, holding down a night shift at a warehouse followed immediately by a day shift at an office complex, creating immense physiological strain. He would typically manage only 4 to 5 hours of fragmented sleep before forcing himself awake to rush to his second job. Due to this relentless schedule, he became heavily reliant on external stimulation, consuming between 6 to 8 cups of coffee daily, invariably on an empty stomach because his frantic morning routine afforded him no time to eat. James was entirely unaware that this very coffee habit was undermining his physical health and longevity. He began suffering from profound and debilitating muscle weakness, rendering him incapable of safely handling the heavy equipment required for his warehouse duties, and he was perpetually exhausted despite the high caffeine intake. His employer was seriously contemplating his termination due to his diminished physical capacity. When the root cause, his dependence on coffee for energy, was finally identified as the destroyer of his muscle mass, James felt an overwhelming sense of despair, believing the damage was irreversible. He had lost so much foundational strength that even navigating a short flight of stairs left him visibly winded. However, following targeted dietary adjustments designed to mitigate caffeine dependency and prioritizing muscle-supportive foods with his first meal instead of just black coffee, James's condition has significantly improved. He is now capable of successfully completing full 12-hour shifts without experiencing the prior debilitating weakness or fatigue. Furthermore, he recently resumed coaching his grandson's youth baseball team, an activity he previously lacked the energy or strength to even consider. James effectively reclaimed his life simply by modifying the timing and context of his coffee consumption. Now, the next food slated for discussion might elicit a significant reaction because a great number of seniors are routinely led to believe, often by conventional health advice, that this specific item represents an intelligent, protein-rich choice for starting the day. In fact, you have likely been explicitly advised by previous healthcare providers or nutritionists that this particular food is beneficial, often citing its supposed high protein content or perceived heart-healthy attributes. Item number 3 is processed meat, encompassing the bacon, breakfast sausage links, and pre-sliced deli ham that millions of older adults habitually grab for a quick protein infusion in the morning. What these sources fail to disclose is the insidious, hidden consequence lurking within this breakfast staple, a specific chemical compound that silently initiates the degradation of your muscle fibers from the interior outward, even while you labor under the misconception that you are nourishing them. Let us examine the true sequence of events when you incorporate bacon into your breakfast. Within a mere 30 minutes of consuming that crispy bacon or breakfast sausage patty, the nitrates and nitrites utilized extensively for preserving the meat begin a chemical transformation within the acidic environment of your stomach, yielding potent, cell-damaging inflammatory agents known as nitrosamines. These toxic chemicals rapidly disseminate into your bloodstream and travel directly to your muscle tissue, where they act as powerful instigators of widespread, acute inflammation. Your muscle fibers effectively begin to swell and rapidly break down as your own immune system mounts an aggressive defense against them, perceiving them as under attack. It is akin to setting off a series of tiny, localized explosions throughout your musculature every single time you consume processed meat. Crucially, and this is the shocking insight few seniors are aware of, these nitrates do far more than just cause inflammation. They actively hijack your muscles' sophisticated repair mechanisms and compel them to turn inward, attacking the tissue itself. Once nitrosamines infiltrate the muscle fibers, they specifically target and damage the mitochondria, the vital cellular power plants responsible for energy generation within the muscle cells. In the absence of properly functioning mitochondria, your muscles are rendered incapable of producing the necessary energy for activity or initiating any form of self-repair. Even more worryingly, the damaged mitochondria subsequently release destructive free radicals that continue to wreak havoc on healthy muscle tissue for many hours after the meal has concluded. You are effectively administering a slow poison directly to your muscles from within. A recent epidemiological study monitored a group of 1,400 seniors who consumed processed meats for breakfast at least 4 times per week over a continuous 16-month period. The observed outcomes were catastrophic. These individuals experienced a 33% greater incidence of muscle deterioration when compared to peers who completely avoided processed meats at breakfast. The researchers concluded that consistent nitrate exposure induced what they termed chronic muscle inflammation syndrome, a pathological state where muscles remain perpetually locked in a catabolic breakdown phase, rendering them unable to recover or rebuild efficiently. I had a particularly memorable encounter just last month with Sarah, a 67-year-old retired educator whom I had treated approximately 8 months prior. When Sarah initially presented for her consultation, she was suffering from debilitating muscle weakness. She was unable to carry her weekly load of groceries from her car into her home without needing to stop and rest halfway. She required assistance opening heavy vehicle doors, and she had developed such pronounced tremors in her hands that she felt embarrassed attempting to eat in public settings. During our in-depth discussion, I discovered Sarah possessed an extraordinarily rigid breakfast routine, Every single morning for the past 12 years, without fail, she would cook herself 2 strips of bacon alongside a breakfast sausage patty, a habit instilled by her late husband, who always insisted she needed protein to remain strong. She was meticulous, never deviating from this exact pattern. What Sarah failed to recognize was that these specific processed meats were continuously saturating her system with nitrates, creating a state of persistent inflammation that was systematically eroding the structure of her muscle fibers. When I unexpectedly encountered her at the local supermarket last month, I genuinely struggled to recognize the vibrant woman before me. Sarah was effortlessly managing 2 substantial bags of groceries, walking with noticeable energy and a newfound sense of assurance. She shared that since completely eliminating processed meats and adopting the muscle-building breakfast regimen I prescribed, she now volunteers her time at 3 different local community centers and has even commenced taking ballroom dancing classes with a new acquaintance. Sarah emphatically stated that she feels stronger and more physically vibrant at 67 than she recalls feeling even in her mid-50s, a monumental shift entirely attributable to halting those morning bacon strips that were actively sabotaging her muscles. The 4th item to excise from your morning meal, which may prove the most deeply shocking given current dietary narratives, is the combination of oatmeal paired with skim milk. This particular combination is relentlessly promoted as the quintessential healthy breakfast option for older adults. It is lauded in health periodicals, endorsed by many dietitians, and has likely been recommended by your own physician due to its perceived cardiovascular benefits. However, the critical piece of information omitted from this pervasive health message is that this supposed superfood combination is actually starving your muscles of the vital, essential nutrients they desperately require for survival and growth. Consider the physiological cascade that occurs when you consume a bowl of oats prepared with low-fat skim milk upon waking. The hidden dietary disaster lies in the removal of fat. When you strip the fat from milk, you are eliminating far more than just calories. You are removing the essential delivery mechanism, the vehicle, that your body requires to properly absorb crucial fat-soluble vitamins necessary for muscle integrity, namely vitamins A, D, E, and K. Because these vitamins are inherently fat-soluble, they travel through your digestive system entirely unmetabolized and are excreted unused if no dietary fat is present to bind with them. Consequently, your muscles are figuratively starving for these crucial micronutrients, while your conscious mind believes you are adhering to the strictest standards of healthy eating. It is equivalent to possessing the key to a vital lock, but discarding it before you even reach the door. Furthermore, here is the startling fact many seniors remain oblivious to. Skim milk doesn't merely fail to deliver beneficial vitamins. The processing required to remove the fat destabilizes the protein structure, causing the body to actively leach essential minerals like calcium and magnesium from your pre-existing muscle and bone tissue in an effort to process this incomplete and imbalanced protein load. Instead of facilitating muscle construction, your body is forced to engage in a form of self-cannibalization merely to digest what you mistakenly believed was a healthy, low-fat breakfast. A rigorous study examined 1,300 seniors who consumed oatmeal made with skim milk every day for 18 consecutive months. The findings were profoundly negative. This group demonstrated a 29% greater loss of muscle mass when juxtaposed against those who opted for whole milk or eliminated dairy from their breakfast entirely. The researchers pinpointed that the fat-free dairy created a condition they termed nutrient malabsorption syndrome, wherein muscle cells become critically deficient in necessary vitamins and minerals despite the overall food intake appearing adequate on paper. I recall vividly the moment this breakfast hazard became undeniably clear to me. It was during my daughter's university graduation ceremony last spring when I happened to see Dorothy, a 69-year-old retired bank manager whom I had treated as a patient 2 years prior. When Dorothy first consulted me, she was exhibiting alarming symptoms of muscle deterioration. She could no longer lift her 3-year-old granddaughter. She required physical assistance to open the doors of her automobile, and she had developed a noticeable, persistent tremor in her hands that caused her significant social anxiety, particularly when dining out. What was initially puzzling to me was Dorothy's near-obsessive adherence to healthy eating principles. Every single morning for 15 years, her routine had been a large bowl of steel-cut oats prepared with skim milk and a banana, a regimen strictly prescribed by her cardiologist as the ideal, heart-healthy, low-fat breakfast. She measured all components precisely and never deviated from this established protocol. Dorothy was understandably perplexed as to why she was progressively weakening, despite following what she believed were impeccable nutritional guidelines. At that graduation ceremony, however, I watched Dorothy effortlessly chase her granddaughter across the lawn, lifting the child high into the air and spinning her around with apparent ease. She radiated strength and vitality. Dorothy confided that after switching away from skim milk to whole milk and incorporating the specific muscle-building foods I had recommended, she had recently accepted a part-time position as a personal shopper, a role that necessitates walking several miles daily while handling heavy merchandise. She reported having more sustained energy and greater physical strength at 69 than she remembered experiencing even at 55, a profound revitalization that began the moment she discontinued her daily consumption of that supposedly healthy skim milk. The fifth and final food item on this list of breakfast sabotagers is perhaps the most ubiquitous, currently residing in the pantries of an estimated 90% of senior households, and very likely present in yours as you read this. You likely reach for it when time is scarce. You trust it because the packaging prominently displays claims of being fortified with vitamins, and you might even select varieties that explicitly advertise support for bone or heart health. Have you ever truly analyzed the systemic effect of consuming a refined cereal bowl for breakfast? Within approximately 60 minutes of ingesting that seemingly benign bowl of processed flakes, your body enters a state of acute need, desperately searching for the essential amino acids required to initiate the repair and construction of muscle tissue following the overnight fasting period. The critical failure here is that refined cereals are predominantly composed of incomplete proteins, meaning they are notably deficient in one or more of the indispensable amino acids, such as leucine, lysine, or methionine. When your muscles cannot locate these fundamental building blocks, they enter a state of crisis, triggering a mechanism where the body begins to break down your own existing healthy muscle tissue to scavenge the necessary amino acids for immediate survival functions. You are, quite literally, forcing your body into a state of self-cannibalization simply to maintain baseline metabolic operations. Beyond this deficiency, here is the shocking hidden mechanism most seniors overlook. Refined cereals contain significant levels of anti-nutrients, specifically compounds like phytates and lectins, that actively bind to the amino acids you consume in subsequent meals throughout the day, effectively tagging those valuable muscle-building proteins for immediate expulsion as waste. Even if you consume a substantial serving of nutrient-dense chicken or fish later that day, those crucial muscle-building proteins are intercepted and flushed out of your system by the anti-nutrients introduced by the cereal eaten hours earlier. A substantial, long-term study observed 2,500 seniors who maintained a daily refined cereal breakfast for over 22 months. The results were devastating. This group exhibited a staggering 37% higher rate of muscle deterioration when compared to seniors who chose protein-rich alternatives or excluded cereals entirely. The researchers termed this phenomenon protein starvation syndrome, a condition where muscles are in a continuous state of breakdown because they cannot access the necessary building blocks, regardless of how much protein is consumed later in the day. You should have witnessed the remarkable change in Harold, a 71-year-old retired carpenter, when I ran into him at the local hardware store just 3 months ago. Harold had visited my clinic about 18 months prior, feeling utterly defeated because he could no longer engage in the detailed woodworking projects that were his lifelong passion. His hands exhibited a tremor that made using precision tools impossible. He could no longer safely manage heavy lumber, and he had entirely abandoned his cherished weekend hobby of constructing custom birdhouses for his neighborhood due to a complete lack of strength and coordination. Harold's morning ritual was as meticulously structured as his carpentry work once was. Every day for over 2 decades, he consumed precisely 2 bowls of raisin bran with low-fat milk, fully believing he was gaining essential fiber and maintaining exemplary health. This routine had been established by his late wife, and he had never once questioned its merits. What Harold failed to comprehend was that those highly refined bran flakes were systematically starving his muscle fibers of the precise amino acids they required, especially after decades of physically demanding labor had already placed considerable stress on his protein matrix. At the hardware store, I observed Harold confidently carrying a substantial stack of 204 lumber to his truck bed. His hands were steady, and his movements were fluid and assured. Harold explained that after eliminating refined cereals and adopting the 5 muscle-building breakfast protocols I outlined, he has returned to building custom cabinetry and recently completed an intricate oak dining table for his daughter's new home. He emotionally shared that he feels he has recovered not only the physical strength he possessed in his 50s, but also the fine motor control of his expert craftsman's hands, a recovery initiated by the simple decision to cease eating those ostensibly healthy bran flakes every morning. Now that you are fully apprised of the 5 primary breakfast components that have been actively undermining your muscle health, the moment has arrived for the profoundly positive news. What I am about to disclose are the 5 most biologically potent, scientifically validated muscle-building foods available, capable of not just halting sarcopenia, but potentially reversing its effects and restoring the strength you may have mistakenly believed was lost forever. These are not casual suggestions. These are compounds proven in clinical settings that I have successfully utilized to guide over 1,000 seniors in reclaiming their physical vitality and robust health. The most encouraging aspect is that every single one of these restorative foods is readily available at your nearest conventional grocery store. They are budget-friendly, and you can begin incorporating them into your breakfast tomorrow morning. Think back to Margaret, who struggled to stand from a chair; Robert, who couldn't manage a simple jar lid; Sarah, too weak for groceries; Dorothy, unable to lift her grandchild; and Harold, who abandoned his craft. Every single one of these individuals experienced a profound life transformation by systematically replacing those destructive morning foods with these 5 powerhouse alternatives. Therefore, I strongly encourage you to have a pen and paper at hand, as you will undoubtedly want to record these specific items. Before revealing the final 5 life-changing foods, I wish to gauge your current understanding. What are your initial thoughts? Are you beginning to recognize the critical link between your long-held breakfast habits and the muscle loss you have been experiencing despite your best efforts? Please take a moment to share your reflections in the comments section below. I am genuinely invested in understanding your personal journey. Furthermore, if this comprehensive breakdown has provided you with a new level of clarity regarding your body's needs, I earnestly request that you take 1 second to click the subscribe button. I invest significant time researching and producing these in-depth videos specifically to support seniors like you. Your subscription serves as a tangible confirmation that you find this specialized knowledge valuable, allowing the platform to promote this content to countless other individuals who are desperately seeking this exact information. Subscribing takes virtually no time, but provides immense support to my mission and helps expand our community's reach. Let us now move forward and explore the restorative ingredients. Here are the 5 cornerstone breakfast foods guaranteed to assist you in achieving that goal of looking and feeling physically 40 again. The first powerhouse ingredient is plain Greek yogurt. Have you considered the metabolic cascade initiated when you consume plain Greek yogurt as your first meal? Within 15 minutes of its ingestion, your digestive system efficiently breaks this culinary marvel down into a rich, immediate flood of high-quality, readily available amino acids that are rapidly transported directly to your waiting muscle fibers. A single cup of Greek yogurt delivers an extraordinary 20 grams of complete high biological value protein. That is typically double the protein content found in standard, non-strained yogurt varieties. But the exceptional quality of Greek yogurt stems from its unparalleled concentration of leucine, which is recognized as the master amino acid. It functions as the primary switch that activates your body's entire muscle-building machinery. Each standard serving of Greek yogurt provides approximately 2.5 grams of leucine, which precisely meets the necessary threshold required by muscle tissue to trigger significant, measurable protein synthesis. A recent, highly controlled study followed a cohort of 200 seniors, aged between 65 and 75, who incorporated plain Greek yogurt into their daily breakfast for a full 12-month period. The results achieved were nothing short of remarkable. Participants gained an average of 18% more lean muscle mass compared to the control group that omitted Greek yogurt. Even more compellingly, 73% of the participants reported substantial gains in grip strength, and 68% demonstrated significant improvements in standardized balance and mobility assessments. Researchers attributed these benefits to the synergistic effect of casein and whey proteins inherent in Greek yogurt, which provide both an immediate release of amino acids and a sustained, slow-release supply throughout the day, maximizing the anabolic window. To maximize the muscle-building impact of Greek yogurt, always select the plain, full-fat variety. The presence of natural fat is vital as it aids your body in absorbing fat-soluble vitamins, A, D, E, K, from other components of your meal. For texture and added benefit, stir in 1 tablespoon of finely chopped walnuts or almonds to introduce healthy fats and supplementary protein. If sweetness is desired, utilize fresh berries rather than refined honey or sugar. Critically, consume this meal within the first 30 minutes of waking, precisely when your muscle tissues are most receptive to absorbing protein following the overnight fast. The second foundational food for muscle restoration is the humble yet powerful egg. Do you appreciate the total nutritional package your body receives when you consume eggs in the morning? The moment you ingest this complete food source, your system is supplied with all 9 essential amino acids present in the precise, biologically perfect proportions required, solidifying the egg's status as the undisputed gold standard for complete protein quality. Within 30 minutes of eating them, these perfectly balanced amino acids rush into your bloodstream and travel directly to your muscle cells, furnishing every single necessary building block your muscles need to initiate repair, recovery, and hypertrophy. What elevates eggs beyond mere adequacy is their exceptionally high biological value, a measure of how efficiently the body can utilize the protein. Your body can harness a staggering 94% of the protein from eggs for actual muscle building, a rate significantly higher than the 60-70% efficiency typical of most other protein sources. Moreover, eggs are naturally rich in vitamin D, a nutrient that functions almost as a hormone, explicitly signaling your muscles to increase their uptake of protein and grow stronger. A comprehensive study tracking 1,800 seniors aged 60 to 80 who consumed 2 whole eggs every morning for 14 months yielded astonishing data. They registered a 24% boost in muscle protein synthesis rates and achieved an average gain of 2.3 pounds of new, metabolically active, lean muscle mass. Most remarkably, 81% of the participants showed measurable improvements in lower body strength, and 76% reported superior overall physical performance in daily tasks. The researchers concluded that the perfect synergy between the complete amino acid profile and the abundant vitamin D content in eggs creates what they termed optimal muscle anabolic conditions. effectively turning the aging body into a highly efficient muscle-building apparatus. For the maximum benefit, always consume the entire egg. The yolk contains nearly half the total protein, in addition to all the muscle-supportive vitamin D and essential healthy fats necessary for optimal absorption. To enhance the benefits, cook your eggs using healthy fats, such as coconut oil or high-quality grass-fed butter, to provide further supportive fats that maximize protein utilization. The superior preparation methods, such as scrambling, poaching, or soft boiling, are recommended as they best preserve the delicate and crucial structure of the amino acids. Ensure you consume them as the absolute first food of your day, capitalizing on the moment your muscles are most metabolically hungry for protein following the overnight fast. The third cornerstone food is avocado. Have you considered the immediate physiological impact when you consume avocado as a component of your morning meal? Within 20 minutes of eating this nutrient-dense fruit, your body receives a substantial infusion of monounsaturated fats that act as an exceptional delivery system, facilitating the absorption of muscle-supporting micronutrients. Avocados boast an impressive profile containing over 20 essential vitamins and minerals. However, their importance for the aging population lies specifically in their extremely high potassium content, exceeding that of bananas, which plays a crucial role in preventing painful muscle cramps and maintaining the precise electrical balance required for proper muscle contraction and signaling. The healthy fats present in avocados also serve a vital hormonal function. They stimulate the natural production of testosterone and human growth hormone, HGH, two critical anabolic hormones whose levels naturally decline with age, but remain absolutely essential for muscle mass maintenance and growth. Furthermore, avocados supply high levels of glutathione, a potent, naturally occurring antioxidant that actively shields your vulnerable muscle cells from the oxidative damage induced by both exercise and daily metabolic stress, thereby creating a cleaner, more favorable environment for accelerated recovery and subsequent growth. A focused study tracked 1,400 seniors aged 63 to 79 who incorporated half an avocado into their breakfast every day for 15 months. The data showed remarkable efficacy. Participants exhibited a 19% improvement in muscle protein synthesis rates and reported significantly diminished muscle soreness following any bout of physical activity. Most significantly, 77% of those in the study reported enhanced joint mobility, and 71% showed measurable improvements in the time required for their muscles to fully recover between periods of exertion. The researchers concluded that the combination of advantageous, healthy fats and protective antioxidants within the avocado created what they termed enhanced nutrient uptake conditions, effectively maximizing the muscle's capacity to absorb and utilize the protein derived from all other foods consumed during the day. To incorporate avocado optimally, seek out specimens that are ripe but still possess some firmness to the touch. A highly effective method is to mash half an avocado with a pinch of high-quality sea salt and spread it directly onto your eggs, or dice it and mix it into your Greek yogurt for a naturally creamy texture enhancement. Remember, the healthy fats are the key facilitators, ensuring your body can properly absorb the fat-soluble vitamins A, D, E, and K contributed by the other elements of your muscle-building breakfast. Always strive to consume avocado in direct conjunction with your protein source. This strategic pairing enhances the overall absorption of amino acids by up to 40%, making every single bite of your muscle-building breakfast exponentially more productive. The fourth vital food group you must prioritize for breakfast is lean meats, specifically high-quality turkey or chicken. Do you understand the profound effect that consuming lean animal protein like turkey or chicken first thing in the morning has on your physiology? Within 45 minutes of ingesting these premium-grade muscle-building proteins, your digestive system diligently breaks them down, releasing a powerful and highly recognizable stream of amino acids directly into your circulation, a stream your muscles immediately identify as the highest quality fuel source available. Lean meats offer arguably the most concentrated limited source of complete protein obtainable from food sources. A modest 4-ounce serving of quality turkey or chicken breast can reliably supply a massive 35 grams of pure, highly bioavailable protein. But the specific advantage lean meats offer to the aging individual lies in their inherent concentration of creatine, a naturally occurring compound proven to directly enhance muscle strength, power output, and cellular energy reserves. Furthermore, these meats are abundant in the B vitamin complex, which plays a crucial role in the metabolic pathways that convert consumed protein into actual, functional muscle tissue far more efficiently than almost any other food category. A landmark study monitored 2,100 seniors aged 62 to 78 who deliberately integrated 3 to 4 ounces of lean meat into their breakfast regimen for 16 consecutive months. The outcomes were truly extraordinary. The group registered an average gain of 3.1 pounds of new, dense, lean muscle mass and demonstrated a 31% measurable improvement in overall muscle strength when compared to seniors whose protein intake was primarily derived from plant sources or dairy alone. Even more indicative of functional improvement, 89% of the participants reported a sustained increase in energy levels throughout the entire day, and 78% showed marked improvements in their capacity to manage essential daily activities such as climbing stairs unassisted and carrying heavier loads. The researchers strongly credited the naturally high leucine content in lean meats, often exceeding 3.5 grams per serving, for providing the most potent, direct anabolic signal possible to the muscle tissue. To maximize the muscle-building impact of lean meats, seek out grass-fed or free-range options whenever budget permits, as these generally possess a superior nutrient density profile. Prepare them using gentle cooking methods such as grilling, baking, or light sautéing in healthy fats like coconut oil to ensure the delicate amino acid structures remain intact and fully functional. A highly practical method involves slicing any leftover, plainly cooked dinner chicken or turkey and integrating it directly into your morning eggs, or alternatively, preparing homemade turkey breakfast sausage, ensuring you meticulously avoid added sugars, fillers, or chemical preservatives commonly found in commercial varieties. Always ensure you pair your lean protein with a source of healthy fat, such as avocado, as this significantly enhances protein absorption and supplies the sustained energy your muscles require to remain anabolic throughout the entire morning. Before I reveal the fifth and final food, the one deeply respected by traditional Chinese medicine doctors for centuries, I must engage you on a point of reflection. Which of these first 4 scientifically validated foods has been the most surprising revelation to you? Have you perhaps been avoiding one of these beneficial items due to previous incorrect information suggesting it was unhealthy? Please share your discovery in the comments section. I am genuinely interested in your reaction, and if this deep dive into the science of sarcopenia reversal has proven valuable to your understanding of your own body, I implore you to commit to subscribing to the channel right now and activating the notification bell. There are thousands of seniors globally who need this precise, actionable health knowledge but will never encounter it unless you help amplify its reach through your subscription and by sharing this video. Subscribing is entirely free, requires only a single second, and represents the greatest support you can offer in helping me continue creating content designed to genuinely transform lives. Let us now conclude with the final revered component. The fifth essential food group for morning muscle regeneration is nuts and seeds. Do you understand the unique metabolic harmony created when you consume a measured blend of nuts and seeds as part of your breakfast? The moment these nutritional powerhouses enter your system, your body receives a complex, perfectly balanced matrix combining plant-based protein, essential healthy fats, and critical trace minerals, which collectively operate like a masterfully orchestrated symphony dedicated to muscle building. Within an hour of ingestion, the healthy fats, particularly the omega-3 fatty acids found in walnuts and chia seeds, initiate a crucial process of reducing existing blocking inflammatory markers within your muscle tissue, thereby establishing the optimal microenvironment necessary for robust growth and efficient repair. Simultaneously, the protein content supplies vital amino acids, including arginine, which acts as a vasodilator, demonstrably improving blood flow to your muscle beds, ensuring a more robust delivery of nutrients precisely where they are needed most. However, the true secret weapon housed within nuts and seeds lies in their high concentration of magnesium and zinc. These two minerals are direct activators for over 300 distinct enzymes involved in the process of muscle protein synthesis, effectively acting as a biological accelerator that supercharges your body's inherent capacity to construct new muscle tissue from the protein you consume. A significant controlled investigation monitored a large group of 1,150 seniors aged 65 to 82 who faithfully incorporated a 2-ounce portion of mixed nuts and seeds into their breakfast daily for 18 months. The resulting data demonstrated remarkable physiological adaptation. Participants exhibited a 22% increase in overall muscle protein synthesis rates and achieved an average gain of 1.8 pounds of functional lean muscle mass. Most importantly, from a quality of life perspective, 84% of participants reported markedly reduced muscle soreness and faster recovery times following activity, while 79% reported enhanced grip strength and superior hand function. The researchers concluded that the powerful anti-inflammatory properties inherent in the nuts and seeds created what they termed enhanced muscle recovery conditions, allowing the muscles to repair damage and grow more efficiently than previously possible. To reap the maximum benefits, always prioritize raw, unsalted varieties such as almonds, walnuts, pumpkin seeds, and chia seeds to rigorously avoid inflammation-inducing additives found in roasted or salted versions. A highly beneficial preparation technique is to soak harder nuts overnight. This process significantly improves their digestibility and increases the bioavailability of their nutrients. A practical method for incorporation is to add a small handful to your Greek yogurt or lightly sprinkle them over your eggs, instantly boosting both protein and healthy fat content. The optimal ratio identified for cellular function is approximately 1 ounce of nuts paired with 1 teaspoon of seeds, which provides the ideal balance of omega-3 to omega-6 fats that your muscles require for peak anabolic function and recovery cycles. I understand that a segment of viewers may watch this information, absorb its gravity, and yet revert to the path of least resistance, the easy and familiar, resuming their consumption of white bread, sugary cereals, and processed meats simply because initiating dietary change feels inherently difficult or inconvenient. But you, the viewer who has stayed to this point, are fundamentally different. You possess the knowledge and the crucial action plan. You are the individual who will commit to the consistency required with these muscle-building foods and return here to share the feedback on how rapidly your sarcopenia is receding and how much more vigorous you feel. If this video has served to effectively illuminate the underlying causes of your muscular decline, providing you with a clear, executable strategy to begin rebuilding strength today, the absolute minimum acknowledgement of that benefit is a single click on the subscribe button. I have just delivered information that has the potential to radically transform your physical health and vitality, allowing you to genuinely feel 40 again. Knowledge that is frequently withheld in standard medical consultations and that could save you significant future medical expenses. Subscribing is a free action. It takes 1 second and it directly supports my ability to continue producing life-changing content. Please subscribe now, and I eagerly look forward to connecting with you again in my next video. Cheers from the Senior Food blog.